ahead and review the agenda. I'd like to entertain the board, consider adding a discussion item to the agenda, discuss the budget. In case we have to talk about money, I want to be able to discuss the budget. Also too, regarding what Michelle sent out, timeline. So I want to be able to discuss that briefly. Will I entertain a motion to amend the agenda to add a budget discussion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, please vote aye. And if any,
Aye.
aye. Motion carries. All right, so we'll go ahead and approve the consent agenda, which is the approval of the full agenda as amended. I'll entertain a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have, since it's a special meeting, we do allow public comment, but only for the agenda items that are on the agenda. So we have discussion of the elderly services building and public health, courthouse cameras, and then budget. So if you wish to speak, go ahead and state your name and where you're from, and you have 3 minutes.
Good morning, Vicki Brenner, sometimes known as the Energizer Bunny, Winterset. This rush to sell the public health building without due diligence or logic raises many questions. Who's responsible for the plan? Members of the Board of Health affiliated with a private school? The local, who teaches math at a private school and manages campaigns on the side while doubling as a consultant's assistant who doesn't want to listen to any more of his stories? Is it a supervisor's husband who wants her to run for auditor because they need the money? Or is it the man behind the curtain taxpayers have already paid $7,353 for a consulting report which may or may not exist? Citizens have been asking these questions for over a year, begging for accountability, transparency, and fiscal responsibility. They have pleaded with state entities for help, but no knights are coming to our rescue. So we're on a crusade fighting for veterans, our elderly, every tax-paying citizen, regardless of their political party. Let me share another analogy. We're all familiar with the movie Rocky IV, aren't we? Rocky's the underdog who won't give up no matter the odds, and neither will we. This was a premeditated plan to infiltrate Madison County government, to outsource any problem employees who stood in the way of the plan. Some involved in the plot might have been unwitting pawns, but they are implicated, even if they were duped by supposed friends. Believe me, none of us are so delusional that we think any of those involved will suddenly grow a conscience and do the right thing. So what we're hoping is that the same fate these people forced upon others, outsourcing, firing, or creating such a toxic workplace, causing dedicated employees to leave, karma will come to those people with full force. Those involved put more planning into their scheme to take over the auditor's office and make Madison County the test case before moving into other counties. They spent more time than actually serving the needs of Madison County citizens. Those involved didn't even try to create the illusion that they are making decisions for the public good. A clear example is pushing for the sale of the public health building, regardless of how it affects our community, especially our veterans. Let me tell you, we've had our fill. These perpetrators need to pack up their carpet bags and get out, or maybe law enforcement will be happy to give them a lift. I ask that you receive and file my comments.
Motion to receive and file comments. So, do I have a second? I will second that. Any discussion?
Thanks.
All in favor, please vote aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right, anyone else wish public comment? If you're on the phone and you wish to have public comment, please hit *6 to unmute and then state your name and where you're from, and you have 3 minutes. So Lance, there's usually about a 5-6 second delay, so that's why we kind of wait until you have a chance to speak.
Plus it's early.
Not for you.
Not for me. I've already been at work.
All right, here no more public comment. We'll go ahead and move into the first discussion item. This was, Jess, I think this was your instigation on the elderly services building, you sent us some mold
Yeah,
testing.
so,
Jess, is this the Rainbow and Mold Test Company? Who is that?
So they're here in Winterset
Boy, this is a huge disparity in price.
between them and all three of them.
Yeah.
yeah, so the other company, so let's pull that up. So we got a quote for just mold alone. No, let's take a step back. So, I first heard a couple of weeks ago that there was a mold problem in those back office spaces, in the past, and it had been corrected. So I engaged with 3 different companies to find out what it would take, to look at mold testing. I also included the elderly services portion of the building just to ensure, the elderly section is safe as well. There are 2 different air handlers that serve the 2 different spaces, and they are separated by the warehouse. But we got a quote from Rainbow, here in Winterset for $2,013.55. A non-local company, Mold Test Company, that does work across the country, and they contract with local contractors, and they were $1,314.
Where are they out of?
They're everywhere. I'm not sure the gentleman I talked to which state he's from. And then I got a price from Eocene out of West Des Moines, and, what I liked about Eocene, their price was $2,230. What was good about Eocene is they have a lot of other varied, experience that we might be able to utilize in the future. But certainly they were not the most competitive in regard to the mold testing. So in my opinion, we need to kind of narrow it down between, maybe another, and I could get some other prices too, but I just want to get some baselines here so we kind of knew what we were talking about and what we were dealing with, for that. And so once I heard that concern, while I pursued some other matters, with that building, and we can talk through those, in my opinion, this was the number 1 concern, ensure that that space is safe for anyone and, any workers that are potentially gonna be there in the future. So we still have to take a step back and decide bigger picture, what's the best spot for the veterans. I know that, there were a lot of complaints about going into the courthouse, moving them into the courthouse. I know that we had a citizen in tears approach us after one of the meetings, concerned about the impact to her sons who are veterans and having to walk into that courthouse. And the length of the walk for them, even if we move the parking spots, the lack of handicap accessible bathroom, and the lack of privacy in their opinion too, are very big concerns. And so that's when, as you both know, in a meeting a few weeks ago, we talked, hey, well, maybe we should go back to what my original plan A was, move them in the back of the elderly services building where they would have total privacy. I have gotten, I met with contractors, 3 different contractors to find out what it would look like to, convert that bathroom space into handicap accessible and what it would look like to remodel the office space. I was quite surprised. I've got 1 quote back on that, but we need to fine tune the scope so that we can ensure they're all pretty close in scope. There might be some variations in quality or something like that, but I have met with 3 different contractors on site and gotten their ideas. Now there are some things were specific to the elderly services space and their usage of the washer and dryer, for example. It's right outside that bathroom there. That's not vented properly. There was a Resner heater that's in the top of the bay that was removed, and a gas line wasn't piped. There are a few minor things like that I think that we should address regardless of what we're going to do potentially with that space. I also think we should continue to pursue remodeling prices, narrow down the scope, get some hard numbers to remodel that space and that bathroom. I'm open to, do we utilize it for the veterans? We can get some feedback on that, or do we could potentially lease that space out. I'm not okay with leasing out the public health building, that has 2 part-time employees in there. It's over 7,000 square feet. We've gone through this a million times, a lot, excuse me. I started meeting with, this has not been a rush decision, I started meeting with Public Health and Veterans Affairs last March when we started talking about this. So I wanna make it clear, this has been a very long process, so, but it's all just preliminary. So I think the board needs to decide, kind of what direction we wanna go with this, and I'm happy to pursue more quotes. There are some other concerns regarding, I learned about a tank where, used motor oil was stored.
It was a garage. We paid
Uh-huh.
$1 for the building, and as long as we don't sell the building, the tanks can remain.
Well, I kept pulling on strings, and we struggled to find any information on it. And I found, this is where EOC found this information
Is
for
this
me.
what you attached from the
Mm.
DNR?
Mhm.
Okay.
Where that tank has been addressed. We can, and I'll read through that more. Yeah, it was capped, but what my concern was that it was capped and all that used oil was still in it. And it doesn't appear that that's the case based on the documentation they pulled up. Now, I'll circle back with the DNR. When I first reached out to the DNR, asking questions, trying to find it, and they sent me a list of questions back that I didn't have the answers to. So trying to just kind of keep piecing this together. I've engaged, with our assessor, with our recorder, where, do we have any data? Do we have any documents to back this stuff up? So of what that status is. So I was quite relieved to get that information regarding the tank. I thought, that could be a very costly endeavor. But
So it looks like that concern is no longer a concern. It was taken care of, what was this, 2012?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, regarding, making sure that we had a handicap accessible bathroom, one of the concerns is asbestos in that, building, so that is why I went ahead and got asbestos, testing pricing. I haven't gotten that from 3 yet.
Are you sending them to these same 3 companies or 3 companies?
Not all of them do it.
It's
do.
different,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's really expensive.
It's expensive because of the quantity, and for example, if they gotta test your sheetrock, they gotta do, I think, 2 tests for that, and then they gotta test the baseboard, and then they gotta test the
But
flooring.
if you keep it enclosed, it will pass, won't it?
Right.
Yeah.
As long as you
Keep
don't
it
disturb it.
closed.
Yeah,
Um,
Yeah.
Do you know that you don't have a lot of parking there? It's limited, because it belongs kind of,
Are we planning on having a rush of people?
well, I don't know about veterans, how much they need, but we do have limited parking there, because we have to share with HERDA and with the meal
Right.
site. I did reach out to, I do agree with you, we need to clean that up and take care of the building.
Yeah.
We need to allow, because, Conservation Board needs that garage to store their stuff.
But he said he only needed 1 bay.
He needs the bay.
But then there's 3.
That's fine. I reached out to, there is strong rumors that Quickstar wants land by the current MATURA. MATURA building is way too small. They've outgrown it. They own it. So I reached out to MATURA. They love the idea of moving into public health. I had another meeting, DHS would love to have a spot. Last night,
DHS already has an office there.
they
We're gonna be moving them into the courthouse.
Well, if we have them all together, you'd have the veterans, you could have MATURA and DHS, all one stop. And then you'd have, that way, you keep a valuable asset, they're all together. And I
But
said,
it won't lower costs for us, because right now, just eliminating, the cost for the building, the annual operational cost is gonna save us quite a bit of money, over $80,000 a year, Diane. And I don't think MATURA is gonna be paying us $80,000 a year in rent.
I think, I don't know, I think that.
And I can tell you now, they do not have the budget for that, we just went over our budget.
They are going to ask you, sitting with the governor last night, they are going to, we need to consolidate. And that is a huge consolidation.
We are consolidating.
Well, I
Keep in mind, MATURA is not a government entity, it's an NGO, it's a private entity. So, and for DHS, we are only required under Iowa code to provide them office space, which we are planning on doing in the courthouse, because it already has a node for the ICN, which they're required to use the ICN, they cannot use our network, they have to be on the state network.
So do we
So-
own public health, or does the public health board own it? Because taking all of our medical supplies to Warren County without anyone's knowledge just seems,
I don't think that's true, Diane, according to the chair of Board of Health.
the stuff is gone.
What stuff?
The drawers are cleaned out.
they took all this stuff, and when I asked Michelle for an inventory of all the stuff, did the previous public health directors, plural, keep an inventory? She didn't have one. There's no inventory. So how
No,
do
so we
know?
don't know what they took.
Exactly.
Who
And
gave them permission to remove all that?
The Board of Health.
And they have,
did.
do they own it?
They are in charge of all the medical supplies. The only thing we are in charge of,
Contents.
the only thing we are in charge of is the actual building.
But that grant would have come through the county, so how
The
did
grant now will be going through,
Warren.
Warren County is the fiscal agent now, so all the grants actually come through Warren, on behalf of Madison.
Shouldn't we have been up and up and say exactly what they removed from the building?
If it's not, we don't have authority over that, that's the Board of Health.
Well, when Boone left all of their stuff, I called Boone, they didn't want any of it, I inventoried every single thing, and we had a garage sale.
Well,
Shouldn't we have done this
where
somewhere?
there's still a lot of stuff in there we need to inventory, that's gonna be part of the discussion, I'm hoping.
We can give that to, well, I would give it to all of our EMS system before I send it over all to Indianola.
The only thing that, you were copied out of that email, so she listed all the stuff that they.
After the
that they-
fact.
Well, again, we're not in this conversation, this is Board of Health, so we can ask them for that information, I'm sure the chair would provide that, but, we are not in charge of that. That's a separate board, we have to make sure we stay in our lane, to quote you, on that. So, if we had an inventory, which is unfortunate, we don't apparently, if we had an inventory of stuff, then we can try to figure out what happened, because keep in mind, Diane, a lot of that stuff was brought by the actual nurses, they use their own.
They did, and if the toenail equipment is gone, that was really, really expensive.
The what equipment?
All the toenail equipment,
So
when you cut a
that could've-
diabetic's toe, it has to be very specific. And
That could have
was-
walked off years ago, because according to the Board
It
of Health,
did not,
they
I
did
called
not.
one of the nurses, it was there when they met.
Right, and who knows where it went after that. So this goes to the point, we really need to have better management of our, not just for Board of Health, but for everything. We should have inventory of everything.
Do you think
Um,
selling really big assets like that in the long term is wise?
I guess it depends on where you think government is going, Diane. And so I know that I was elected to make government more efficient and to streamline it and to lower taxes. And we can do more with technology with less people now. So when we have empty space in the courthouse, we have empty space in the elderly services building, and we have the bulk of that building sitting empty on a half-acre lot,
1.5
why, 1.5, thank you, 1.5 acre lot, why would we sit on that, and why wouldn't we put that back on the tax rolls and consolidate with what we have now in open office space?
Every job that you outsource or give away will destroy rural America. We will no longer have rural America because you will outsource every job, and with technology, everything will be gone. We won't have anything, and if you think you get rid of local government, higher government won't step over and take over,
I
you're
don't
wrong.
want, we're not gonna get rid of local government. Local government is here.
I don't
What I'm
know.
asking is that it's efficient and it efficiently uses taxpayer resources. And sitting on that building that's empty nearly it's not a good use of resources. So let's put it back on the tax roll. I'm open to whether, I know Thaddeus was pretty adamant that he wanted to move into the courthouse. I'm open. If he wants to be in the courthouse, or if, we talked about the annex building here, it'd be a lot simpler to remodel that assessor space, and they would have a handicap accessible bathroom. But to me, we need to invest in that elderly services building regardless.
I would love to have, how much office space do we have there? Is it 3?
There are, I wish I had a whiteboard, there are 5, that's a,
It's small,
It's white.
yeah.
it's a shopping.
So there are 2 main offices, and you have an entrance by that, the driveway.
The original entrance.
Yeah, the original entrance, which, by the way, Diane, every time I've been to that building, multiple parking spots open right by the door. And if there's an elderly or disabled person that wants to visit Veterans Affairs, guess what? They could pull into the dock. They could pull into the garage, whatever entrance, we could work that out with conservation. So it would be very accessible. And there's currently 2 offices on the south, bigger offices. There are 3 offices on the north. Now, there was a temporary wall added back when it was EMS, so that they could have sleeping quarters. So that, well, it makes sense to me, remove that wall and have a bigger office area. So they would literally have space for, they could have, if Veterans Affairs moved there, they could have, Thaddeus, Joan could each have their own nice offices, windows, and then there's a big enough, 2 big enough spaces then that could be storage and or conference room. They could have their own conference room right off of their offices, as well as a big storage area. There's also storage upstairs. Now, in order to get that space up to snuff for anybody to move in there, of course, it would need to be remodeled. You know, we would need duct cleaning, we would need things like that. The bathroom, making that handicap accessible. I think the best suggestion was where the washer and dryer are now, they're stacked, and elderly services would really like to have those side by side.
It's easier.
So, so if we turn them, build a little parapet wall for those washer and dryers there, we can have the entrance right there that goes straight in from the west. From the elderly services building, we put the entrance there, or the doorway, to make it large enough, a handicap accessible doorway, to go into a handicap accessible restroom. There's a shower in there, we don't need a shower.
Yeah.
You know, all that could be reconfigured. Where the toilet is now, that could just be a little storage closet. But there's enough space in there to do that and have a door that swings that they could pretty easily access it. Now, we would have to make sure that and maybe it's just some lines on the concrete of a path, that we make sure that conservation doesn't park over, you know, with their vehicles, but we could get them a straight path to that bathroom.
Do you, I'm thinking aloud here.
Hello?
Do you have, do you want me to check and see if, what it would take to have an ICN node there, and then maybe put DHS in office there? You don't think there's not enough space?
There's more than enough space for them, for DHS to go there and then some. So I think things that need to be identified. Oh, fun little find too. There's so much stuff there that I've started going through it. We found 2 brand new AEDs. So we're getting one up at the elderly services building,
Oh,
and
awesome.
one at the 3rd floor at the courthouse. So that was pretty good.
Awesome.
Cool find. Brady's leading that charge and make sure we get new pads for them. So I had, IT and phone needs. Stancil, if you can help with that, given your background and your experience.
I've already put in a request to see what the cost would be for them,
Okay,
because I don't think they'll need a node. They could probably just access our network through a VPN, but I'm gonna check with them.
okay, that would be great. Of course, we'll need duct cleaning. Now, electrical, that's gonna vary, so the stairway to go up to the attic part above these office
That
spaces.
is not a safe stairway.
Not at all.
It got
So
broken.
what I'm asking them to do is to put a platform at the 90-degree turn and removable railings. So if people need to store something that's a little bit bigger, they can take the railings off to get it up there. But
Do we really need that though, with all the garage space?
it's a big, nice space up there. Now, I haven't been up there yet because there's no stairwell. I had a few people climb up there, and so we're gonna probably need to address maybe some penetrations for the building envelope, and they would do an air quality test up there.
It's really not, even though it's storage, it's more of an attic. So it's really not something that, because I think all they had up there before was just the old phone equipment that they used for the EMS building. There's
Elderly
really
services said they use it.
Oh, they use it.
Can you take out those covers and put just a stairway?
Yeah, those cupboards, there's
That all needs to
cabinets,
go.
there's some things that we need to do, you know, county, just as a county to understand, like, for example, there were some gas cans stored by the furnace. We can't do that. We need to make sure that we have those secured and it's not a fire hazard, but that's some things that I think it's great to go through these exercises so we can all kind of get on the same page and make sure we know what the standards are that we need to adhere to.
Okay. So, so what I'll do is I'll check with, DHS on a nice end node, to see what it'd be to put one there for them. Or if they can jump on our network temporarily until that's put, so I'll talk to them about that. The other thing I wanted to ask is, to Diane's point, is, the public health director now with Warren, they've been out there, they've done everything they needed, they gathered everything they needed already, in order to to manage our public health for us as part of the 2080. So I think what we need to do next is start, figuring out what we're gonna keep, what we're gonna sell, pack up, and get it moved into one of the bays at the Elderly Services Building, and maybe just get it moved there temporarily. It'll give us more time to figure out what we wanna do, so we can prep the building for sale, because we really need to get that done, because a lot of the remodeling stuff, we're gonna have to replenish those funds that we pay if we decide to do the Elderly Service Building. If we decide to move people to the courthouse, then, that's not an issue. We already got the
Well, there would still be an issue, because we'd have to widen the doorway, we'd have to do some modifications to get accessibility to the restroom if we moved. You're talking about Veterans Affairs, you're talking about DHS?
Both,
Okay.
both.
So
No,
we'd still have some costs moving into the courthouse.
right, we would still have that, but we would have a transition plan. So you guys have the ADA, I don't know if you had a chance to read those reports. So there's a lot of things that can be done right away.
But none of it was, we had to do it.
No, it was recommended.
Recommended, but
And I
we
think-
don't have to do it.
I think, I don't know if that was a conclusion on that she was just giving us a report of what she saw that was missing.
Do we have another meeting set up to talk about the ADA report? Did we get one on the calendar, do we need to do that?
No, the
No,
auditor
so-
asked us not to have meetings.
Okay,
We
well,
cannot do that.
the auditor asked us not to have budget stuff, but we need to be talking through this, we can't just shut down what our job is, Diane. So, with the ADA thing, we have a list of stuff, and then according to the consultant, that came in and did the evaluation, as long as we have a transition plan on how we're gonna get this stuff done, we can be seen compliant, under federal code. So what I'd like to do is talk through, what we'd like to direct our facilities folks to get done immediately, so we can show compliance, and then a timeline of when, because I still really would like an ADA bathroom in the courthouse. We spent all that money on a ramp for ADA accessibility, and we just did it halfway. And, we have people that need that, and now we have a nice conference room, so everything can be on the first floor. If court needed to be held to accommodate an ADA need, they could use that room if they wanted to. It's actually, around the same size as the second courtroom we have now. So I'd like to explore that, so we can, at least make it ADA compliant, or get some kind of certification from the federal government that we are exempt. Because right now, we do not have that. Everyone's making assumptions, but we do not have that. There's nothing in writing that
The
says
official
that.
exemption.
Will historic preservation let you put a bathroom in that courthouse first floor, because the walls are all curved load-bearing walls? So you cannot start knocking out any load-bearing
They
walls.
managed to do it for the Capitol building, and that was designed with the same guy that did
How
our
much did it
courthouse.
cost?
I don't know.
Millions
This is
of dollars.
crazy.
This is bad, serious stuff when you start knocking out historic.
I agree, Diane. This
Where
is why
would you put the bathroom on the first floor?
I was thinking we pick, again, I would leave this to folks that we have consultants to do, just like we did with the courthouse restoration. I'm thinking the smallest office, so probably where HR is right now, that could be just a single stall, or maybe a.
What do you do with all the windows?
Well, you put shades on them, so no one can see in. But they managed to do it for the Capitol building down in Des Moines, Diane, so I think we can do it for our building. But again, that's more long-term, that would be a goal that I'd like.
Yeah, I think we could do, like with that ADA report, for example, maybe we need to have a work session, and we just do a ranking of, here's our priorities, our low-hanging fruit that we could do very economically and address, but maybe here's some longer-term goals we wanna address later and start thinking about.
And then, we could also put lost money towards that as well. since our loss money has to be used towards the courthouse, so we could put that towards that. Even tie a revenue bond to that, depending on how much it costs, so there's no tax increase for folks if we decide to do it that way. So there's lots of different options to do that, but I think that should be the goal, is that we should, since ADA accessibility seems to be very important to our employees as well as the public, we should focus on basically our county jewel, which is the courthouse. So, but again, that's a long-term thing, because that's gonna be more costly, to Diane's point. And we wanna make sure that we are doing that, not doing that in a rushed way. But in the meantime, we still need to provide some sort of accessibility for the folks that need it, especially since we're gonna be selling the public health building. That will also free up funds once that's sold, so we may not even need.
Free up our taxpayer funds that we're paying for it, but it'll also hopefully get it back on the tax rolls
Right, so
and bring in some revenue.
yeah, so we'll have a reduction of about $80,000 a year just in operational expenses.
Do you know what if it was added to the tax rolls?
What if a nonprofit buys it? Then it won't be on the tax
I
roll.
don't know if nonprofit buys it, Diane, do you know of any nonprofits that are gonna buy it? I'm not aware of it.
I don't know anybody who's
But
maybe
bidding
you
on
could-
it.
If it goes to auction, anybody can bid on it,
Yeah, if it's nonprofit, it's off the tax rolls.
it all depends on kind of nonprofit.
Well, then we're doing
So
some
it
extra
could
good
still
there.
be off the tax rolls.
So,
You're
if,
making assumptions, we shouldn't be making assumptions.
I'm just thinking
I'm
ahead.
thinking that right now the bulk is we're gonna be saving at least $80,000 a year in ongoing operational expenses. We'll have capital funds coming in, and adding the tax rules would be a gravy, I think.
it'd be just a bonus. But Diane, to your point earlier regarding MATURA, if you can negotiate a situation with them that would make that financially feasible,
Well, the one thing too
Yeah.
is they are dependent on federal funds. So if they lose federal funds, then we're kinda stuck there, and I'm not sure the county should get in the business of being a landlord, especially to folks that are dependent on a very finicky, currently, Congress.
Yeah.
So, that makes me very uncomfortable.
but if Diane would like to put together some numbers on what that looks like.
I don't think I don't think you'll, if I go to the work, I think you guys have reminded me that.
I truly don't think MATURA has the funds to
They sell
backfill
their
it.
building for,
They don't have the annual funds to pay the rent to justify this. I wish they did, but they don't.
Well, I'm open, Diane, this is the first mention of this, of MATURA buying, I think you might have mentioned
I
it
mentioned
as
it. At the
in a
last
previous,
meeting.
yeah, previous meeting. But, again, I'm just, trying to look at the financials here and what makes sense, and so, I'm open, I guess, if the board would like me to go ahead and pursue, I can get a defined scope for these contractors and what they're quoting, for general construction, ADA bathroom, I can get, defined scope and hard numbers on asbestos tank, testing, on duct cleaning, and we can evaluate what that would look like and who might be best served by moving in there,
You want me to check it for the ICN node?
Yeah, I think that would be great, yeah, if you can handle the IT phone parts of it, I can handle the rest of them.
And I got,
Steve said he needs the 3 bays, just to clarify.
he
Sorry.
needs 3 bays.
Yeah, I just texted him because I thought that's what I
I
agreed
thought
last time.
he needed
so-
all of it, because he
Okay.
has nowhere to put his equipment.
So what we'll have to figure out then is when we pack up public health, what stays, what is sold, and what we can probably put in the corner of the bay. Because those are huge bays, and I don't think he's gonna take up 100% of the space. I think we could probably put some boxes.
But
in
he
there.
doesn't have a shop anymore, so he might need it all.
This would only be temporary, Diane, because eventually we're gonna be getting rid of the stuff, either selling it.
No, Steve needs the
No,
room.
I'm talking about the public health thing, it's only gonna be a
Oh.
temporary thing. Cause the goal is to either sell it or repurpose it, but right now, we just need to get it out of there so we can prep the building for sale.
I think there's plenty of room on that, let's see, the the west side of the building, I mean, that whole area, there's quite a bit of storage area. Predominantly conservation stuff has been by the bay doors. But if, as long as we just have a path to the restroom, that they don't walk with their vehicles and their equipment.
We could also, with that, do you think that as part of the, renovation, is there enough space there to we can make a storage room? So they'd have a conference, they could have a conference room for their board meeting, the 2 offices, 3 if we do DHS, and then, do you think there's another room for, we could put, like, if they need to put boxes in there or something like that, or no? Should we just
Well,
assume?
It depends, if DHS goes in there, they're gonna need an office, and then the way that they're configured.
Cause it's more like an L, cause you have the offices on the north side that used to be for, whatever they were used to be for, I don't even remember what they're for. And then you have the north-south part where they had the bedrooms and the laundry room and all that, and the shower. So all that space can be repurposed.
It's not really an L, let me draw it.
Okay.
I think it'd be easier. Here, excuse me.
You can tear it.
How long are these?
That's a long.
Here, I can. So right now, the space, let's go north. So right now, there's an entrance here, this is the driveway on the south side of the building, this goes over to the sheriff's department, right? And these spots, like I said, these parking spots along here, I've always been able to park right there, every time I've been over to this building. So there's 2 little, man door entrances, and there's a dock door here. Going in, there's a dock door here, there's a dock door here. This is all storage, potential future use, can completely be
Okay.
redefined how we're using it, it's
Okay.
just kind of a hodgepodge right now. But these are the spaces that we're talking about here. And there's currently I'm gonna say I'm not an artist, sorry. There's currently, everybody can see this. I didn't line this up. There's actually a door here that goes into this office. There's a door here that goes into this office. Then this space here is currently separated by a little temporary wall. So we can easily take that out. And then there's actually 2 spaces. Now there's 2 doorways going into this space. Easily fill in one of those doorways.
Those are sleeping quarters.
Yeah, but they're not soundproof, they're not, but.
They're closets on them.
Yeah.
But both of these spaces would be big enough for a conference room.
Okay.
Now, you could, by rights, you could keep this door shut and secured, and you could have 1 set of offices with a separate entrance for here and here.
Yep.
2 decent sized offices, and then another set here.
Okay.
If it was just Veterans Affairs, you could have, Thaddeus, support person, you could have then a conference room and storage, so there's quite, it's a nice little area.
So for DHS, they're not really on a schedule, they're more sporadic, so they would probably be in and out, and they would probably need a key, for that, cause sometimes they say, it was like an emergency situation, they told me that they may have to come down to Madison County like late at night or whatever, so they would have to have access, and they would have to have, if they have an office, it'd have to be a secure office with a lock.
I would think that they would like this space better, easier to get in and out of quickly.
Okay.
But now, it is a little bit more isolated back there, but it's right next to the sheriff's department, as far as if they're there late at night, working by themselves.
Well, usually for what they do, they like privacy as well, so, but do you think that would work? I'd have to find out, if we get an ICN node there.
I think that would work, I don't think
Okay.
there'd be enough space for Veterans Affairs then. Unless, well, there could be.
You don't think there's space for 2 offices or 3 offices in that space?
There is, but Veterans Affairs says they need a conference room.
Well, they can,
A
if they have,
storage room.
if they have a meeting, they can always meet in the courthouse for their board meetings.
It's true.
And we could probably use that hodgepodge you said there on the north side for storage, couldn't we?
And the attic area,
On the attic area.
yeah.
So, but the goal is not to store things forever, is to repurpose it or sell it. So,
I think Veterans Affairs would balk at that because, they said they have, sensitive things that they need to store.
oh, I'm just talking like
Secure.
desks and stuff like that,
So the
so.
other offices have gone up, put their names on desks and things.
Okay, well,
And
let
they
them,
need stuff, and then filing cabinets nobody wants, but I think the landfill in the office, not in the pit, they want those.
so I'm wondering.
So we could give them to other agencies.
Yes.
Because you don't make any money on a garage sale or.
No. So I'm wondering what we should do maybe is have a day where we open the building and we have people come and get what they want, and at the end of the day, whatever's left, that we have to figure out.
Then
Sell
we'll
or
inventory and sell it or donate it. Some of the chairs I had to haul to the curb because nobody would take them, but, the other offices, there are a lot of things they want. There's very good shelving in the basement. I know the landfill has nothing to do with the county, but I'd rather give it to agencies everybody uses than to get nothing for them.
So what do you think about that? What do you think, Diane, about having just a day where if they want it, here's your day, come out on a Friday, get what you want, at the end of the day, anything that's still there, we're gonna figure out how to get rid of it.
Well, I
What do you
think all offices need to, yes, I'm for that.
Okay, so,
All offices, I even think what they don't want, the landfill, because that's huge, everybody uses that, so give it to other, yeah, I'm
we'll
for
have
that.
to check and make sure we can,
We gave them stuff
Do you
before, after the
know?
tornado,
okay,
we
okay.
did, we decommissioned it and left them because they had, everybody.
Because there's
uses-
really no value to it.
So did
No,
you
there
have
was no
an
value.
inventory list then? that
I
should
made an
be used for-
inventory, we decommissioned it, we had an auction, we cleaned out the third floor, and we made about $14,000 on an auction. We could have.
So
an
you have
auction,
experience with this, is what you're saying?
you know.
So maybe Diane can lead the auction piece of it.
Yeah.
Well, there are things in the basement, like those old clock faces, we could sell those at auctions. I mean, that stuff is a commercial stuff that people want in,
The
like,
clock, they have clock faces in the basement.
yes, the fiberglassy ones are down the basement, and they're just gonna get broken.
In the public health?
No, in the courtroom, that needs to go.
Oh, okay, I'm
It
sorry.
just lays down there.
Yeah, so, so would you be willing to kind of pick a day and do we think we wanna give, folks what? A month? Here's the day, we're opening up the public health building.
Well, I would only open it up to our
Right, of
counties.
course, but I'm saying send it out to the department heads.
Well, I think we
And-
should give them 2 weeks. It shouldn't take you very long to figure out what you want. I think they already know, they've got their names on stuff.
No, but I'm saying, so I'm just trying to give a month notice, not a month to do it, but a month notice, and then just have them do it on a particular day so they can plan accordingly. What do you think about that?
Sure, I think we need to clean it out in the most efficient way. I think anything that is not, that Indianola didn't take we have a lot of ambulances. Those, they should get all that
Right,
first.
and I know Brady had said that he was interested, I assumed he's already done it already, but according to his email, he had not, so.
Well, and I think you've got Truro and St. Charles that transport, Irma. Brady could probably take it, he could divvy that out.
So,
Where are the blood pressure cups and all the stethoscopes? Are
I
they
don't-
gone? See, that's
and
expensive
the
stuff.
problem is that there is no inventory. And that's a shame. So how can we know that they didn't walk off a year ago if there's no inventory? We don't know when they walked off, if they did, or if they assumed they were ours, but they actually belonged to the nurses. I don't know. I have no idea.
Nurses wouldn't leave their equipment. It's too
Well, a
expensive.
lot of nurses buy their own,
Yeah, I
so they
know.
use their own,
Yeah.
and then they can store it where they work. So we're making assumptions here, but again, we have no documentation to know whether that's true or not. And I'm not comfortable accusing people of things without proof. So going forward, however, this shows that we need to do a better job inventorying things. So I think what we need to do is have a day to where we invite the ambulances, folks, both the county and the cities, to come in and see if they'd like anything.
And the things that are at the public health building then would stay at the public health building, the things that are at elderly services would stay at elderly services for people to come look at and see what they want? Or are we gonna consolidate them to one or the other?
Well, we don't wanna move things twice.
I know, that's why I'm
So,
like,
I
maybe we
think-
have two spots and we just have,
I would suggest going out to, don't move anything. We pick a day, a department head or whoever they wanna send, all go out to public health. They put their name on whatever they want, and if they both want the same thing, we'll draw straws. And then we'll go to public health, same thing, and then they'll have 2 weeks to remove it. If they don't remove it, it goes up for garage sale or auction or whatever, we involve in inventory. You can't drag this out, because I have found working here for so long, we had a table earmarked for the landfill that went through a meeting, it just got gone. It did not go to the landfill, it went wherever it
Somewhere.
went.
So
We
I,
can't do that.
I think that's
It's
a good idea.
public property.
I think that's a good idea. So let's pick a day to do that on our calendar, and then I can, let the Board of Health Chair know, so they're aware. And then we can, have folks come and put their name on stuff, and then they would work with, probably Chip to get access to the building and take that, what they need, and anything left, we would have to dispose of. We just wanna make sure we keep, cause according to the chair, anything that's like equipment, chairs, tables, desks, shelving, that's not something that they are over. They're only over the whole medical supply stuff. Anything to do with the actual building is the county's, so, do we
So
wanna
are
pick
the
a day?
medical supplies, is that still public health, or is are the ambulances gonna remove what they left?
Warren County has already advised the chair that they have taken everything that they need in order to provide us.
So it's the ambulances.
So the ambulances, so we would probably, let's pick a day, I think Fridays would be easier for everybody, what do you think, Patty?
I would do it more in the first of the week, so they'd have the rest of the week to remove it.
Okay. Good
Because
point.
Fridays, I don't want anybody to come back when it's after hours, so somebody trips and falls.
Good point, good point. Okay, so what do we think, do you wanna do Monday the 9th, February 9th?
so that's gonna give us,
And just invite,
just over a month, yeah, so as long
we
as we
wanna
have
do
time to.
the
to
9th
go
for
and
maybe
see.
the ambulances, and then maybe the 16th for everybody else? Or do we wanna do everything all in one day?
I would do it. If you want me to do it, I'm getting her done. I'm doing it one day.
All right, Ms. Fisher.
Because I am
You are
efficient.
good at that.
Maybe a
16th?
2-day period, the 9th and the 10th, just.
Well, the 10th is a supervisor meeting,
Yeah, we have a work session.
and we have work session too. So if we do it, we can do, I mean, we don't have to do Monday the 9th, we can always do Wednesday the 11th and Thursday the 12th.
I'm just thinking maybe 2 days, just Monday,
Are you
maybe
guys
Monday
doing
and
it, or am
Tuesday.
I doing it?
Well, Diane, what,
Well, if you wanna do it, do it. I mean,
so, I mean, you've done this before and you've done it very well. I mean, I don't know if you don't wanna do that, I understand.
well, I do, but let me pick the days if you're
All
having
right,
me do
okay.
it.
What days would you like?
What works best for you guys? The beginning of the week, probably?
The only thing that I thought of off the top of my head is that, for Michelle, I don't know if she'll be.
Oh, that's right, and I think
Often-
there are things they needed out there.
Well, I think we could probably help the auditor's office.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll find
That,
out.
that's just my.
Yeah, we'll make sure they have what they need.
How
before
about,
this.
how about February 9th? Would that work for you?
I mean, for me, but I just didn't know for.
Oh,
I will
February
send out an email and we'll all kind of find out.
I mean, that
February
works for
9th
me,
or
but-
February
March
9th,
9th?
February 9th. Because keep in mind, we need to get the first wave,
Check
and
the
everything
weather.
else we'd have to either box up and move and get it out of there, because, we need to, I think, how long did they advertise for the conservation building, was like 30 days? Green Dirt did, I think it was 30 days. So, we wanna have, because it has to go to auction, so we have to make sure that we have enough time to have it be advertised, then go to auction, so.
Well, I don't think I can get through the elderly services building and all that stuff in less than a week. I'm gonna need more time than that.
To do
Well-
what?
To go, there's a bunch of stuff there still that I would need to sort, and some of the stuff we could potentially just take to public health. Some of it's smaller, I could carry it, take it myself to public health.
Right, well, we wouldn't be doing anything
Don't
for,
move anything.
we're not moving
leave it.
anything, this is
Don't move
just a schedule to get folks to come in and have our people take what they need, and then we know what's left, and then cause then we have to figure out what to do with it.
Well, there's a few items at the elderly services building that people might want. So there's a few desks and things like that, but there's really not nearly as much as public health. But maybe what I could do instead for those is just take pictures, and we could just share those. If anybody's interested in this stuff, we have stuff over at elderly services too.
Well, why wouldn't we just take them out to public health, let them put their names on it, then go to the,
Cause like
Elderly
desks
site,
and
put
stuff,
their
why
names
would
on
we move them twice?
we
No,
wouldn't.
she was saying,
I
have
wouldn't.
people come
Oh,
over.
You just come out, you put your name on it, you have 2 weeks to remove it, then they go to elderly service, put their name on it, and they have 2 weeks, and it's gone.
We can do that, but I'm not gonna have it all sorted by then.
Well, I don't know.
Do we really
that
need to
you
do
don't
elderly
need to
services
sort it.
right now? Cause the priority is to, so why don't we kind of put a pin in that,
That would work.
and then just focus on public health right now, and then see how that goes, and then we'll have a better idea on what's left.
There's not gonna be much left at the elderly services when I get done with it, but, yeah, there are a few desks and things like that that people might want, file cabinets and.
Okay. So
we won't worry
Diane,
about that as much right now.
it sounds like the 9th?
I'll go Thursday the 12th, or, well, you said the beginning of the week's better for you guys, you think? It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It won't take long, you kinda know what you want, I think.
So
The
you're
9th.
gonna send it out to all the department heads and then, okay. Alright. So we have the 9th.
So
So,
who's gonna give them access? Then Diane, are you just gonna set times and camp out there, or do you need facilities?
I'll just go out there and they'll come and we'll set up times and we'll go through it and we'll write it, and then what doesn't take, then we'll go, maybe I'll set up a second time, and then I can handle this. Send
Okay.
out February 9th.
yeah,
I need a chair, by the way. A better chair, but
then what you have in
there's a
your
lot
office.
of, there's a lot of, and then what? In your office?
Okay, so we have that done. Let's go back to, direction for you for
Are you gonna do a deadline for pickup?
deadline for pickup. Yes, Diane, what do you think deadline for pickup?
And then the.
End of, maybe, February 20th? I'll give them 2 weeks, what do you think? Or no?
I'll figure it out.
Okay,
But
but no more than 2 weeks?
no,
Okay. Okay,
So you ladies would like me to, what I'll pursue then is I'll get, finalize a scope, if you will, to share with the contractors for the general, remodel and the restroom. I will also check on, the other item that I didn't mention is sewer line scope, and getting a camera down there, because we don't have any drawings for that building, and because there's likely asbestos, we need to scope those sewer lines and figure out where they're located before the work commences. And that pricing is, Smith Sewer, a lot lower than, several of the others I called. It's like $225 plus, I think 86. They think they can get it done for about $311, but it'd be, worst case would be $536 to get that
Okay.
scoped. So if it's okay with the board, I'll go ahead and pursue that.
you need to write a resolution, I mean, if you're
well, we have
gonna spend money.
we have a motion to pursue, but we would have to do a resolution for.
Cause I don't have an actual hard quote from them, it's just verbal, cause it's so minimal.
Right.
So we can get a resolution for next Tuesday.
So next Tuesday for the mold test, the asbestos, and the scoping of the sewer.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll put that together in a motion here in a minute with other stuff.
And I'll see if I can get some other bids for asbestos so we can do it all in one.
Okay,
You don't need to motion, just write your resolution and get it on your next regular meeting.
well, to give her direction to do it, I wanna make sure we have a motion. here.
Well, I don't have 3 quotes for asbestos removal yet.
Right. So, okay, so, what else?
So do we wanna put this together and what this looks like and get a more firm number, and then before we make a decision? And Diane, you could talk with Thaddeus maybe and see what his, where he wants to go,
He doesn't wanna go, so I'll have to, I
Well,
don't know.
Well, the
I
building's gonna
understand
be
that.
sold, that decision's already made, so now we need to figure out where we're gonna put folks that they can service the public.
Well, you told him at that meeting that he kind of agreed to the auditors, and now that's changed, so I'll talk to him, but he's mad, so
well,
I'll have to fix
there's
that.
veterans that are mad too about going in the courthouse, so
Yes.
how do we weigh
I
that?
know.
How do we weigh
The
that?
public, the public comes first, we're here to serve them. So, so if they, you know, the lady that came up here tearful, I mean, it made an impact, you know, so, we wanna make sure we put our veterans first, and sometimes that means as public servants, we have to sacrifice, so, I like the idea, but if it doesn't work out, and it's better in the courthouse, then,
Yeah, I'm
so,
open to that. I like the idea of knowing what it would take to remodel this space and even if we don't do it now, at least we're gonna know, to potentially invest in that space for the future. I mean, it'd be nice spaces, but if it works for DHS or what have you, we'll get it figured out. But Diane, you seem to have a good relationship with Thaddeus, and maybe you can talk through this with him, and see what he's thinking.
So, all right, so it looks like, let me kind of recap. So Diane, I'm gonna go check with DHS to see, if we can, they can get a quote for moving an ICN node in there, if we do that. I'm awaiting quotes for the internet already. I've already put the internet and phone out there. I've already put, requests out for that, so hopefully I'll get that yet this week. They are taking their own sweet time. The 9th is the day for folks to kind of put tags on what they want. You are going to.
Pickup deadline is the
Pickup
20th.
day is, I'm sorry,
Pickup for the stuff they want is the 20th,
the 20th?
and then after that, I would probably suggest like a tag sale. Just let people walk in, whoever, and put a price on it, and they pay for it and leave. But we'd have
And
to
anything that-
decommission everything, so we
Yes.
know exactly what we took, because it is taxpayers.
Yes, and then you're
So
going
I have a
to,
confession to make. I donated a bunch of clothing and items to, MATURA, that were in this space. I did not document it, I didn't inventory it, it'd been sitting there, I think, since the tornado. So I got it.
in the
In the bay.
in the bay, yes.
But going forward, to your point, Diane,
Should.
I'll create an inventory there too, so we can make sure we know what we're dealing with.
And
If
it should
there's
go before
expired,
the public, yeah.
and I will also document what's thrown in the trash. We have a whole pallet of water that's expired. I don't want the liability if somebody claims they got sick from it.
There are gloves out there that I think have 6 fingers or no fingers, those probably should.
Those were all donated though, so they weren't technically purchased with taxpayer money.
See, and I don't know what's donated or not, so I'll just document it.
Mitch kind
But
of
there's
knows.
drinks that are expired, we're gonna need it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Mitch kind of knows, I think, and I know some of it, because it was during the tornado.
okay,
We did find homes for those chainsaws, by the way, Diane, except for, I think there's still one more left there, but.
If they don't, they gave it to like offices, but I think if they have one more secondary roads wants it. Cause they have to cut stuff.
Yeah,
okay,
I actually found a fuel pump handle, brand new.
oh, wow.
I'm like, Mike, can you use this? Yeah, it's just a nice spare part.
Okay, well, I
Some
think
fun
we're
stuff
finding
there.
things that little treasures.
Mhm.
All right, and then you are going to get, finalized quotes for mold testing, asbestos, and scoping the sewer, and have
Yep.
that ready for a resolution on Tuesday. You're gonna work on that, so I don't know if we need a motion, because most of this stuff is
No decisions.
no decisions,
Yeah.
but we did make a decision for the
sale,
sale.
tag sale.
Well, technically
No,
not yet, we're
not
just
yet.
having
I'm just
employees
saying,
come
some
and
of
pick
it
it up.
might end up going to landfill.
So I don't think we need a motion, other than I'll entertain a motion to do what we just said we're gonna do, just to make it official.
I'll make a motion, we pursue.
We pursue
No,
what we
I
discussed.
don't know how to, no.
You don't think we need that?
Just get it done and then come back.
We'll come back. So let's make sure we get it on. Can
Please
we-
make my minutes simple. Fair enough.
Fair enough. So can you, on the agenda under old business, put, basically elderly services / public health building, please? So we have that, and make that a standing item as well, until we get this completed, if you wouldn't mind, please. You catching all that, Lance?
And then do we need to schedule the ADA?
I think we need to
review?
schedule, let's kind of go through, cause then I think we'll need a work session.
old business last time when we tabled it, so probably needs to be.
Okay,
I mean, you could do a work.
We can do a work session too, but
Okay.
it's on the agenda too, so,
okay.
I think we do need a work session, but let's finish this, and
Okay.
then we'll talk about that. So if we're done with the elderly services and public health, we'll move on to the cameras. I put this on here because you had expressed concern, and I wanted to make sure we as a board discussed it.
Chip's here, so we can walk through it.
So did you wanna kinda,
Yeah, Chip, can you come, do you mind talking about the camera system to come up and talk about that?
Chip, just getting down to the nitty gritty, it's 10,954 more because we aged out server, so we just, is it an additional cost, is that it?
It's
That's what the
additional cost.
resolution says,
Yeah.
that's it.
Okay.
Oh,
well,
that's
I think
fine.
we understand the price, I think Jess brought up some concerns, and I didn't wanna discuss it, except outside of a meeting, so that's why it's on the agenda. So you wanna go ahead?
So I guess if you could lay out for us, Chip, I know back when I dove into the camera system, there was I had discussion with the contractors, and there were different platforms at different buildings of what's this look like in the longevity of the systems? Are we gonna need upgrades? Does it really do what we want it to do? And at that time, I'm thinking, man, maybe we should evaluate, maybe this isn't the best platform for us. I know I indicated in my email, just in industry-wide, Johnson Controls is very expensive. They are the toppest hourly rate, one of the top hourly rates. Now, I'm glad we have, it sounds like, I believe our Johnson Controls tech is great and it's really responsive, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, so I mean, that's valuable, that's tremendously valuable. And I don't wanna diminish that, but at the same time, we just passed another resolution to invest in that system. Now we have another resolution to invest in that system, so what I wanna know is it gonna be future-proof here for a while? Are we gonna have some time?
So
Is it,
this investment in this server brings it all up so we can catch all the Windows upgrades.
okay,
Didn't move forward with that originally, because we was hoping the old server would be able to accommodate that, but it's not.
Is there any reason why we can't tap into the server that's in this building? Cause when we put the cameras in here, I think we have a newer server in here.
Has to
We
be
should-
separated because of state's not in this building, we have to have a separation.
No, no, they have their own for the courthouse, the annex and the county stuff, they can be joined. So that's a misunderstanding. You don't have to be separate if it's just if it's just county stuff, but yes, for the state stuff, they have their own server. When I'm talking about server, I'm talking about the one, we put the brand new one, newer one, we put in here for the camera upgrade we did in here.
Right.
So we should be able to tap into that server cause there's plenty of space, and do that without purchasing a new one.
I don't believe that, this server will handle that accommodation of those cameras.
Did we check? Can we check?
Check, yes.
Yes, so what I like is to have a unified, I don't want two separate servers. That adds additional load, it adds additional, delay, and frankly, it's a waste of money in my mind. So we should be able, when we did the server in here, when we did the updated cameras here, it should be able to be upgraded. Now, if I'm wrong, that's fine, we'll spend the money, because I wanna make sure the cameras can be accommodated and any future upgrades, but this is something that should have been brought to the board when we had the proposal for the cameras originally, because they would have known when they should have known, when they priced out those cameras, if we would have needed an upgrade server at the time. Cause the quote we were quoted, now we're coming back with a change order, which is almost the same price as the original quote. So a $12,000 quote is now a $22,000 quote. And we can't be doing nickel and diming, that's not, to your point, it's not very efficient, and it's not very cost effective, because it prevents us from actually doing a bid.
Yeah, I'd like to just explore, if you don't mind, Chip, if you could explore, what's this look like? I think you've had really good success with the contractor you work with for this building system. You've had good
Formerly Summit,
experience?
it's a different name now.
It's a different name.
We're Johnson's, it's the same company.
We've always
But
had
that's
them
all
since
of ours.
I've
If that's
been
the
here.
In this building, in annex.
It is Johnson Control.
Summit did the upgrades in this building, they did all the upgrades in this
Yes,
building.
but Johnson Control now is handling this building also per direction of Supervisor Hobbs. If that was the case, we'd be able to use the jails.
What? I don't think we,
I never directed you to use Johnson Controls for this building.
When we had the issues at the courthouse last year, yes, you want the same carrier to be looking over all of our stuff.
I wanted to explore that option, yes, and
did you specifically say Johnson?
no,
Because that's something we should
that's not
have.
who I would pick, because I have experience with Johnson Controls. I know how expensive they are.
Cause that should have been something we put out to bid, that's not a decision we should be making.
Yeah.
Because it's a very expensive, this is very expensive, and I wanna make sure we do it right, one, and two, with least cost. So I think we need to kind of take a step back here. Have we already purchased the cameras that we approved already? Yeah, okay. So I think we need to take a step back here before we do any more change orders. Cause I wanna make sure we're not purchasing a server we don't need.
I'll find that out.
Can you find out, please? And I'd like to, if you could, I think there'd be value in understanding exactly what we have, and inventory exactly what we have, and, that kind of data. I think it'd be important. Now, I know that's probably something we can't disclose to the public per se, because it's security, but that's something I think the board needs to look at, so we understand exactly what we have, end of life, because we're gonna need to replace some cameras in the courthouse in addition to that one we just replaced. Some of the other ones are older, that will need to be replaced too, soon. So I'd like to know what we have, so we can plan on purchasing, because we're doing budgets, and we may need to purchase more cameras to replace some of the old ones. I wanna make sure we're aware of what we got. So do you think you can work with Johnson to get that all together? Does that answer?
Yeah, and Summit too, or the new Summit, I guess. What's the name?
Someone put in original bid to replace our thing, they were hired, so.
They were hired because they were using, per our requirement, USA, equipment.
It still came back, some of our equipment wasn't, they were.
Yeah, some of it's still made in other countries.
Well, it'd be great to have
Not
a
according to what they
comparison.
provided though, Diane, everything was confirmed as made here, so, and that made it more expensive, is to have it USA made, but from a security standpoint, we wanted USA made, and we didn't wanna do the cheap Chinese stuff, especially if they weren't compliant with federal regs. So if you could, am I hearing you correctly, did you want a quote, or just right?
I guess I'd like more of just a summary, executive summary of our systems, the age, future upgrades, and what the contractors think we're gonna need. Let them tell us, what are we gonna need for 5-10 years out? And what I would like to know from you is their level of support, who they have to support it, what are their hourly rates, cause that creates glaring differences. And I get it, like with Johnson Controls, it's very regional. They have great technicians in some areas that are fabulous. They have other regions that are awful. So I just, I wanna make sure we're evaluating that. And I know there was another camera system here, different platform here in this building that was great. And we actually pulled it up. That technician was fabulous, and we pulled that up and walked through that. We were able to pull that up actually from emergency medical services that has that same system too. So we have two buildings with that platform, and then we have the courthouse.
Right.
So back last spring, when I was diving into it, that's what I was questioning. I didn't realize the decision was made, but that's what I was questioning, is maybe we should consolidate. Do we have a vendor that's more economical and has good service, that's gonna help us make sure that this equipment is maintained and we're in a good spot for future?
It might be good, is once we have the inventory of everything, is to actually, maybe go out to RFP. So if we have a 5-year plan of, say, if we have to replace, 15 cameras, that's gonna be costly. And I don't wanna be doing that be dropped on our head and say in 6 months, oh, we need all these cameras because they're dying. or what happened to us with the fire alarm, it, you know, it broke and we had to make a split-second decision to get it replaced. So I'd like to do a little bit more planning for that.
And that's okay, I think Chip can gather info and talk with, you know, your contacts, but what I don't wanna do is I don't wanna put Chip or anybody else in a position where we're doing an RFP and we get low bid and we go with it, it's lowest qualified bidder, right? We don't want low bid garbage.
Correct.
We want it to be good, economical equipment that you, I understand, have to work with and help maintain and work with the contractors. So there's a value there to it, if we get good support too. But no, I'd be perfectly fine with an RFP, but I think at this point, we need more data
Well, yeah,
regarding these two different platforms and what that looks like and what would it look like to bring consolidated to one platform for all the buildings.
well, we can't do an RFP until we have all the information.
Yeah.
So,
But I know Sheriff Barnes has access, you know, remotely, so, you know, I'm sure he has an opinion on it as well. He might say, I don't know, he might say, gee, I like what we got, don't mess with it. You know, it's valuable to get all that insight.
well, technology is changing all
But
the
it
time.
sounds like Chip has, I mean, we have to trust our staff to know what they're doing. And if he thinks that Johnson Control is the best and they're there, it's kind of like the old story, you're sitting here in a meeting and there's water up to your knees and somebody says, call the guy. And the board says, well, I need RFPs and I need bids and it's water's up to here, call the guy. And pretty soon the water's over your head and you're drowned. I think if he knows and they're the company that's prompt, they come on time, but it's more expensive, but it's quality work.
We don't
And that's
know,
important.
but we can't make assumptions until we actually do the work to prove it, Diane, because we are accountable to the taxpayers. And if we can show, yes, we're spending more money on this system, and this is the reason why, then we can document that. I don't know about you, Diane, but we get lots of open records requests to prove the decisions we made, okay? So I would like to be able to provide documentation to the public that the decision we're making, especially for spending more money on a particular entity, is the best way. So I think the proper thing is to, first of all, have an inventory of what we got, and when it goes end of life, when the expectation for replacement is, if we can use the existing server to join both of them together, because right now, EMS in this building use that one server. And we have a
Okay, so-
completely different server in the other building. So I
Alright,
think
so-
what we need is to have all that information brought to the board, and then we can decide on if we need to budget for.
So you're tabling this action, this motion?
Well, there's, how do we,
It probably would be a table, wouldn't it?
well, we're not doing any action, because unless the action is directing them to give that information to us. So,
So are you gonna approve this 10,954 that the resolution is for?
I'm not today, I want more
Okay, so,
information.
all right, that's bottom line, we don't need to
there's no
discuss it.
resolution on here, it's
Okay.
just a motion for action, because I didn't know what the board was gonna do.
But they did send a resolution, there is a.
Not for today.
Not for today, correct.
So we're gonna, so I don't know, I mean, that could go on the agenda next week, but I'm not comfortable doing anything on that until we get more information. So, but no, the reason why I put a motion for action, because I didn't know what the board was gonna do, and I want the flexibility, if we wanted to do something, we could do something. So it sounds like we're directing you to provide us more information, so we can do that and better plan. So thank you.
Is that okay, Chip?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so the last item on the agenda, you guys, does that address your concern? Okay. The last one was what we added, and then was the budget timeline. Michelle sent us a timeline, before she left, regarding that, and I had some concerns that we are gonna have a very short window to go over the budget, four business days, basically, which is very concerning to me. Especially given the fact that we don't know where we're at. And, if we don't get to where we need to be, we are gonna have to make some very tough decisions very quickly. So what I was wondering if the board would consider is that we start looking at ways to cut costs now. So if we have to make a very short decision in a very short period of time, we're ready. So I know we've discussed things on where to cut. Doesn't mean we're gonna cut, but I just wanna be prepared to make a decision quickly if we have to. So, in the past, I know you have mentioned, I think this was last year, is looking at, contracting out custodial services. We currently spend about $215,000 a year, just in salaries and benefits for custodial services. That is not public facing, so there's no cutting in public services if we save money there. That's an option. The other option is, I know you're looking into potentially a different benefits.
Health insurance.
Health insurance. That reminds me, we need to, figure out where we're at on that
On that date.
So I will follow up with Kelly on that, because we need to have a meeting with our benefits. So you're looking into that. I think we need to continue to look into that.
Yeah, they're ready to present to the board, so we're just trying to get a time for them to do it.
Okay, so let's, will you work with Kelly to get that on the calendar?
Yeah.
Get some dates. The other thing too is we can, move some HR services, to a third party.
So you wanna outsource HR?
I'm just exploring everything that is not public facing, Diane.
I researched outsourcing HR.
So I'm not saying fully, and I talked to some other supervisors in other counties, when we go to those conferences. Some of them actually have a good portion of their HR services is handled by Allers and Cooney, which surprised me. I didn't realize that. Not everything, obviously they don't do COBRA and FMLA and all that kind of stuff. But, the things where if you have HR complaints, or you have, onboarding or offboarding or stuff like that. So I don't know fully, but, I'm just looking for ideas to where we can explore potentially saving money that would not be cutting public services at all. Now, until we have a better idea what our budget looks like, I'm just kind of shooting in the dark here. But I'm afraid that we might be over a barrel again, like we were last year, and we're gonna have to make some tough decisions. And I really would like to, not raise taxes. We can help it.
Do you have that data you can share with us, Diane, that you?
No, I just did it a long time ago. I called, when I first came, there was a discussion, and I, reached out to other companies. They found companies of this size, they found it to be disastrous, because they didn't have any in-person anything.
Well, I'm not saying completely do it. I mean, obviously, there's, you need to have some, a warm body, for lack of a better term, to get that front-facing folks. And normally, in the past, it did roll up under the auditor's office, either as a deputy. Now, we had dedicated two since I've been here, but prior to me, I think prior to you too, it was actually handled by one of the deputies in the auditor's office. It wasn't as dedicated as it is today, and
there's currently a part-time position opening in the auditor's office to where then our HR would not lose their job, right? If they were part-time and they could do dual use,
possibly, yeah.
potentially.
But then we'd have the added cost of benefits, so we'd have to kind of weigh, and I don't know if it's cost effective. I won't know until we investigate, and get, feedback. So, but this takes time.
Yeah.
And I think that it might be good to consider an RFP for that, just to see, for both of these things. Just to see what's out there, and if it's not cost.
Custodial and HR.
Right. It may not be cost effective. And if it's not, then we'll have to figure out something else. But I'd like to explore things to see, so we're ready. The other thing, that I'm thinking of is, and I had conversations with, again, those conferences are very useful in getting ideas. Regarding, I don't think we should outsource, if we do decide to outsource custodial, I don't think it should be 100%. We do need at least one person here that is vested in the county, they should remain as a county employee. But I think we should kind of change up the title to be more of a, what's the word?
Facilitator. You
Like
wanted
a
that for
facilities
years.
manager slash county administrator, kind of like how they do in Winterset, they have the city administrator. We have Drew, he's kind of over, kind of making sure he does the will of the council, and then he makes sure that, you know, he directs things. So I'm thinking more of someone kind of changing the role to be more of a facilities director, facilities manager slash county administrator. This person, he or she, would manage the outsourcing and custodial staff. They would be the ADA contact. That's another thing. We're required to have an ADA assigned person for ADA compliance. That was something I learned from that consultant. So they would be the person that would handle that. Another option is to take, right now, Michelle is the IT liaison. Have that be the facilities person, or facilities director, or county administrator.
That's
That
a
would-
very
that-
broad job
I'm
description.
spitballing here, so I'm just thinking, and we can discuss it further. But I think that, not be an IT person per se, but be the liaison. It's like, hey, I need a new computer. This person with contact solutions, rather than bogging down the auditor, who should be doing her stuff, and, you know, focusing on that, and having someone else focus on, because technically that's equipment, it's facilities, it could fall underneath there. I think there's one county, and I have to look at my notes, I think there's one county that does that. I may be misremembering. Anyway, I just think there's value that we have at least one, still have a staff member that is employed by the county, that's over facilities, not outsourcing it 100%. Now, if the board thinks we should do that, or at least look into it, see what the cost is, I don't know, but I personally don't think.
I think it'd be worth looking at. I know people, had expressed concern before when we talked about this last year regarding sensitive areas, for example, the county attorney, and, you know, we can't have custodial staff in here after hours. Well, but they could do it during the day, you know, if
They already do it during the day.
they already do it during the day. Now, I think a county administrator, when I hear that term, I envision somebody who's our right-hand person that circumvents and helps with some of the crazy and dealing with a 3-person board where we can't speak outside of meetings. I picture a county administrator in that role, higher level, helping to navigate and coordinate. I would pick, but I love your idea regarding the facility manager that would be, you know, the keeper and overseeing that stuff. Because, you know, Chip's been acting, you know, more in that capacity in a lot of ways, but he hasn't had the title. I think his title's head custodian, right? So, but
It would be a completely different position. It would be a salary position. It'd be because it'd be an exec position. And it would be something with, you'd have more responsibilities, report to the board. But I kind of want to kind of fold more of a county administrator position, because I'm not saying 100%, but have maybe, or have that under the duties as assigned, that 5 or 10% part that they always do in our job description. Kind of a catch-all. So yeah, that's what you're doing, it's right in there. But have it more defined, and have it more of a, just change the kind of the role. So, and then that person would manage the vendors and take that responsibility out of the hands of our department heads, so the department heads can focus on what they need to do, rather than this. So, I don't know what the board's thought is on that. I think we could potentially save money. I know we could potentially take a lot of headaches out of the auditor's office, a lot of our headaches out. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I think it's wise for us to stay ahead of this and try to at least gather information. You know, we know people are gonna flip out and say, oh, they're gonna do this, no, we're talking here about what our options are, so we can make informed decisions. So I would be open to potential RFPs for custodial and HR, just so we know, so we can ensure we do our due diligence.
So do you I'm not comfortable outsourcing 100%. I would like to have a staff member still, county staff member. But if the board wants to consider it as an option, we can do that. I'm not open to that though.
Open to what?
To outsourcing it 100%. For custodial.
No, I think we need
Okay,
somebody
so
here
kind of an
to,
agreement
a
on that.
body here.
Okay, so, and then for HR, I don't know what's out there, to Diane's point, there may be nothing out there. But I'd like to at least explore it, to see if there's any option to save money on that, and potentially, who knows, I mean, we could also change her part-time second deputy to a full-time second deputy. I don't know, so I'd like to kind of at least see what's out there financially and then run the numbers. So if we have to make some tough decisions, we have the time to do it. And in RFPs, we usually do an RFP for around 30 days. Do we wanna do it 30 days, or do you wanna do it, cause next week, if we get it on the agenda next week to go to an RFP and we let it, that would take us, a month would take us into the middle of March. And we have to have our max levy done by March 5th, but we don't have to have our budget done until April 30th, so that would give us time. So, if the board is open to that, I can get an RFP on the agenda for consideration, and then
For
let
both of them, you're okay doing both of them?
yeah.
So I had asked, Chip previously about, just kind of, document the task last year when it was mentioned, potentially outsourcing it, just, document the tasks and what your people do, and, so I haven't seen that, I don't know if that's ever been done, and follow up later, but, so my concern would be that, defining on the front end what those needs are, I don't know that we've done that in-house to be able to.
Well, we could
easily-
ask Kelly to give us a job description of what we have currently, it's probably very old, and their tasks have probably changed over the years. We could always look on, to see what a typical facilities, and again, his task might change, we can put what we want what we actually want our facilities folks to do. This is what we want them to do, we want you to change the trash every day, we want you to wax the floors once a month, or however we wanna do it. And then, and for how many buildings, cause right now they mostly do the annex and the courthouse, they do occasionally secondary roads, they don't
They
do.
do secondary roads.
Yeah,
They
not,
don't do the engineering office, but they do the shop.
they do the shop,
One of
so,
them does.
but I don't know what exactly they do they just change the trash? Do they?
No, they
Does?
scrub all the toilets, they mop the floors.
Okay, so we'll do that, and then EMS, they don't do anything. Public health, they didn't really do anything, but that's a moot point right now. So secondary roads
Elderly
and
services.
elderly services.
They do their own,
They do their own,
cause that's kitchen.
but that might change so what I can do is, on there, we can do 3 buildings with the potential to add 2 more. So we would do annex, courthouse, secondary roads, and then, I don't know what the sheriff's office does. And then elderly services. So we could do add on potentially elderly and sheriff, cause we'd have to talk to Sheriff Barnes about what he would, cause I don't know.
They clean their own, it's part of the jail.
Oh, okay.
They
So
have to, it's part, they have to,
Okay, so then we just leave them off, so it would just be elderly services as potential.
cause it's part of prison.
Okay.
So I
So,
don't know what elderly services is doing now currently on
They
the front
clean it,
end.
they clean it.
They're doing it themselves, so it just be the back.
Yeah.
Back end.
just the back rooms. But what we could do is we could request for them, if they bid it out, they can, give a quote for hourly, so that if we decide to add them later on, it's per the contracted price. And I could reach out to the state, cause I know they outsource their custodial staff, and they did an RFP for that, and they do it, I don't know if they do it every year, they do it every 2 years. But they do RFPs for outsourcing their custodial staff, so I can ask we could use one of theirs as a template.
Okay, yeah, if you're able, then I'll just focus on the elderly services, buildings, contractors and all that then.
Okay, so let me put that together and then,
Do you wanna send us a draft? and
I'll
keep it
send you guys a
second?
draft and so you can have a chance to read it over and then, we'll have it for Tuesday to consider.
I think that'd be great, just to,
And if you guys know of companies that you would like to invite to the bid, that's fine. Otherwise, we'll just post it on the places we posted for the public sites for the audit.
you know, janitorial is interesting because it seems to progress, you know, in the industry. You have one company that stands out and they're doing great and they're doing fabulous, and you have the bottom dwellers that have terrible service. And it changes ownership changes, there's a lot of variation over the years with that, so I'll also make some calls and see who's reputable today.
And I can get a list maybe from the state to see who responded to their bid, when they bid, to direct invite. I think when we posted it to those other public sites though, those were very effective, because apparently, companies look at those quite regularly. So, anyway, so I will, do that, and.
And just to clarify, I mean, what that would look like, they could do the main hallways and in the more public areas after hours, but any of the office spaces they need to do during business hours.
They do them in the morning. If I get there before 7, they've already got it done.
I mean, they're doing our office in the afternoon. Steve comes by and does ours in the afternoon, so.
Actually, I vacuum in the mornings.
Well, you shouldn't be vacuuming then.
Yes, I should. It was dirty.
That's what you hired him for.
I'm not beneath vacuuming.
I'm not
the floor.
saying you are, I'm just saying, you know, if we're gonna be doing it, then we don't need custodial, because we'll just hire you, Diane. Give you a stipend. So, okay, so I will work on that, and I will, maybe get a draft to you guys in the next couple days, and give your feedback on that, and then, Mac, this will probably be a last minute, just get it on the agenda, but the actual resolution and the actual RFP will probably be a last minute, like Friday. Okay, so FYI. FYI, Lance. So, okay, so yeah, I don't know, if we wanna talk more about the budget, or we wanna just wait for other stuff. I'm concerned that, cause we really can't talk about salaries until we get done with the union negotiation.
You have a lot on your
Is
plate.
Is Kylie here,
She went upstairs.
or? I'm just kinda wondering where things stand with those muffins and. Yeah.
Well, according to Michelle, we have to get it done in a week, otherwise. So, worst case scenario, we can't tax more than we did last year. And it's not the levy, it's the actual amount. Which, you know, I'm sure our taxpayers would love that, they would love it even more if we could actually reduce that amount. So I guess we're kind of waiting to be seen, at least for the March 5th one, we just have to get what our maximum is, that's just the timeline. I was hoping we'd be further along, but unfortunately we're not. So we need to do what we gotta do to get ready for worst case scenario. Okay, anything else that you guys wanna talk about regarding the budget? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor, please vote aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.